course, we're listening through podcast. You can't see it, but hey, you
Yeah,
still get the
we'll
full thing.
explain.
All right.
At
What
number
was up?
5 for Sam Sarfo.
Right.
I'll say this was really, really difficult to do because I was
It was
trying my
hard for
best.
me to do. Yeah.
I was trying my best not to all choose from like one or two albums, and it was mixing like what was nostalgic to me and what I currently still listen to in rotation.
Yeah.
And I think there's a common theme in my choices.
Yeah. I did
All
one
right.
from different projects. I couldn't. I stopped myself from putting entirety of like Under Pressure on it.
Yeah.
I wish I had that discipline. But for me,
Yeah.
in fifth, we had Under Pressure, the song. That song is like
Yeah.
one of my favorite Logic rapping. He is just incredible, especially that verse and the beat switches and everything. That's one of my favorites for sure.
That music
Incredible
video,
track.
great music video too. That POV where they're like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Nate Shot's in that video too, which is wild.
really? Shit.
Yeah, he's one
Yep.
of the guys in there.
There
All
we
right,
go. Under
Adam.
Pressure on the board. All right, number 5 for me. I actually don't know what it is, so you're gonna have to move it for me to,
Fade
for me
Away.
to remember what it is. Fade Away.
Away.
Oh
Okay.
wow. What
Classic.
a way. It's that beat going right into it. I mean, I was saying before we started this, but I was listening to The Incredible True Story yesterday, and it made me realize like how important of an album that was to me. And it's the second song. It's like the first song on the album, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's the first
Something like
song,
that,
the
about-
second
yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What a way to start an album with that beat. I mean, I know it was like a single for the album, but
Mhm.
there's gonna be a common theme in my choices. But that one is
Yeah.
always special to me.
Same here. And that's like, you can't hide it. To me, that's Logic's best album, Incredible True Story. I don't know about you, Bryce, but that one is like
Yeah, it's
my
up
peak
there.
Logic fandom.
Yeah. All right, number 5 for me. Gonna be controversial.
A new one.
I got Gaithersburg
Very.
Freestyle on there. Yeah, you'll see. I mean, I got some of the more classic songs above the list, but I used my 5th spot here to kind of highlight the more like fun side of Logic, like
Yeah.
the more banger side. You know, I don't have really any of those types of tracks in my other 4, and honestly, this is like one of my most listened to songs of like all time. Like that All Snapped, Fat
Wow.
Charles verse is amazing, and I helped shoot the music video, so I have bias, but it's
There you
really
go.
good.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
say
really
less.
good.
Okay, there you go. There you go. For me, in 4th, we had Young Jesus. Like that's like
Mm.
when I think of Logic, apart from like Young Sinatra 3 and the mixtapes, him and Big Lembo killed it. He gives me
Crazy.
B.I.
like Fat Joe,
Yeah.
big pun vibes, and it's just all around a great hip hop track.
BIGLEMBO.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
just crazy.
My number 4. We will see what it is because I'm surprised too. Everybody,
Nice.
there we go. You can see the album is kind of floating above my head.
That's sick. Yeah.
I also have I forget how to pronounce the artist's name, but Maha. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I got he sent me a Kanye painting like a
That's
few
sick.
months ago. Yeah.
I got Logic pointing his middle finger at me on my ceiling. I got it's like 3 of his faces all combined.
Yeah, he's a nice
I
guy.
don't want to mess up the camera, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Everybody, I remember that being single for the album, and this is my peak
Incredible.
Logic fandom going into Everybody, and that song, just him barring out the whole time, that was
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. All right, and I got Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, title track. I mean, taken apart from the album, I do like the album. I think it was more fun, but just talking about this track specifically, I mean, he goes into like quite vulnerable detail of like how he's been feeling these last few years, just how the internet's been making him feel, how like himself has been making him feel. And, you know, Logic's always been an advocate for mental health going back to like the inception of his career, especially, you know, Up With Everybody, that whole album 1-800. And I think this was a very just like open song, and I enjoyed hearing like his honest thoughts about just himself and his career and his personal life up to this point.
Yeah,
that song's special.
that song, it's not my top 5, but it's on the bench. Like he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the music video is outstanding. If you haven't seen the music video, I'll go check that out.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah.
The blood
Yeah.
is.
3rd, we got Soul Food. I wish I could have put this so much more higher. I feel like every Logic fan, that's going to be top 3.
Yeah.
I have a couple that I really do enjoy, but Soul Food is obviously a Logic classic. There's nothing more for me to say at all. And of course, that beat switch at the end too. Come on.
Crazy.
My number 3, Run It.
Nice.
There we go. All right, so you're gonna see this common theme for my top 5 is just Logic barring out on songs, and another song that's similar to this that I was gonna put on the list was Stainless, but he was Run It. I can do that bar for bar the whole thing. At the gym, I'm next to a lot of old people, and they just see me rapping very fast along to this one. But I've been obsessed with this one since it came out.
I try to put this in. I wanted to put it in so bad. Run It. Like, that is one of my all-time favorites, but I just couldn't.
That third verse, I'm just going to go in.
Yeah, he comes back in. Yeah, that's just
Yep.
crazy. All right, I got GP4.
Great
I
song.
mean, speaking
Great
of barring out, super long verse. One verse on here. You know, we got his boy T-Man doing the hook, of course. It's the interpolation sample of Elevators by Outkast, which is crazy that he got that clear.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you really, like, look into this verse, I think there's, like, a deconstruction video or maybe, like, a live stream uploaded somewhere of, like, him actually going into what he's saying, and it's like, wow, like, I don't think anyone would ever piece together what he's actually saying without the explanation, but when he does explain it, it's like crazy. I mean, he goes into like talking about kicking the door, like the key of the song, talking about like a key of cocaine, some crazy flip. Yeah, there's lots of things. And Erykah Badu and the sample and talking about like that. The beats, his dad literally talking about like how the beat is like what fathered him into hip hop. It's crazy. It's a crazy verse and it's long, and I love it.
That's why my favorites off. Not No Pressure, is it? Is it No Pressure?
Yeah, it's No Pressure.
Yeah, and favorites off No Pressure, and one of my favorites of all time. And that's my favorite Growing Pains, for me at least, series.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 2, I had Like Whoa. Again, Fade Away is one of those tracks, but Like Whoa, I think he might have released as a single as well after Fade Away. But this is like, every time I listen to this track, it brings me back to my childhood and why I like Logic for who he is. So shout to Lodge.
Yeah.
For you, you had
number 2.
Good one.
I got Young Jesus as well. This is the song that's probably stuck with me the most, that I play most frequently. I mean, it works in the gym, works in the car, it works for me anywhere. I remember, I can picture the music video in my head with like the newscast and the music video. This was just a time for Logic fans.
It was. It really was. Such an era.
Him going around in that tour bus and like meeting fans and showing them the album first. It was really, I mean, it's going to change now in the internet, like the shift in how we show music, but like that internet blog era, him, like what him, Mac Miller, that J. Cole, those type of people were doing marketing wise, that was sick.
Yeah, I agree. And I got City of Stars now. Not gonna lie, when I first got into Logic, I actually didn't like this song like at all.
Because he's singing.
Yeah, like I just wasn't into it. But the more you know, I educated myself on hip hop in general and just music in general, especially like. It's a very Kanye inspired song, let's be honest. Definitely. But getting into like artists like Kanye, you know, like The Weeknd especially too, like I definitely like hear that in The Weeknd's music. I like this song a lot. And especially that back half of him like just rapping. That back half verse is crazy, and it's the whole song is like a double entendre for love and hip hop. It's really dope. It's peak. It's great.
That second verse, he's talking his shit.
Yeah, he is.
They didn't talk about race in the whole first album, but Black and White bullshit was still the outcome.
Yep. Yeah. And I know, like, I was saying this earlier. I had 7 tracks I wanted to fit into these top 5. 2 of those are Run It and City of Stars. Peak Logic. Number 1 for me, what did I even put as number 1? Oh, Lord Willin', of course. That's, again, I know like there's a similar theme. I just love Incredible True Story. That's just the album for me. Lord Willin', another classic track from Logic.
Before you reveal my number 1,
I'll
explain that when I got into Logic, it was the day Under Pressure came out. So I must have been 8th grade, 7th grade. And there was one song that's going to be my number 1 on this list that I found that I listened to first. And I'm like, oh, this is that time where you bought albums for $9.99. You weren't just streaming the album.
Yeah.
And this started my love. So now you can show my number 1.
Say less. Till the end.
Hey,
all right.
That... It's got to be the most nostalgic song for me. It's the first one I ever listened to and fell in love with. And I'm a sucker for like the choir type kids singing like in songs. So da 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 da. And now I'm just in love with that song.
Very grandiose song. Very celebratory.
What a way to finish an album. Under Pressure.
Yeah, Under Pressure. I mean, come on, bro. It's like a 9-minute song, and it goes through, like, we talked about it earlier. I know it was your 5th pick, Sam, but, like, it just goes into, like, everything about his family, and, like, he's vulnerable about it, rapping from multiple perspectives, playing real voicemails from his real family that he's actually talking about. Like, it ties in together beautifully. I mean, it's just my favorite song of all time of any artist. I mean, it really is.
100%. Hey,
it's
at least we
crazy.
have it. Adam doesn't even have it.
I don't have it. Yo, it's hard. It's like when they
Yeah.
talk about sports, like when they're trying to rank the top 5 player in the NBA, like there's 30 players who are top 5 in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's like there's too many lists.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some like songs I was debating, like gang related. I mean, I studied that so I could go on stage. I never got on stage.
Yeah.
I had the Rap for Logic or Die Trying poster. I think he saw it, but he didn't bring anyone up in Philly. It's fucked up.
Yeah. He kind of stopped doing that as of recently. One girl, he did that to one girl recently, and she was like wilding out like a lot. So he kind of stopped doing it, like actually like saying some crazy shit. So you never.
Well, this was more back in the day, so I don't know if he has an excuse. I think he was still doing it, but
yeah,
it's fine. I'm trying to think. What are some other songs that you guys were debating on?
That was just for me. Run It and City of Stars.
Something on Bobby Tarantino. I'm definitely like
was definitely 44
debating.
bars is like up 44, there.
44 and more too.
Yeah.
Everybody Dies. Like I just remember when that album was coming out. Him and that. You don't like that?
I like
it because he was in the Bruce Wayne basement rapping. Was that Everybody Dies?
Oh yeah, that was on Young Sinatra 5. Yeah, Everybody Dies. I love that track.
Yeah, I like the title track on that album.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think Incredible True Story is his best. I think you'd feel the same way, Adam. What about for you? What's your favorite? Probably you give me like Under Pressure vibes, probably.
Yeah,
or maybe
I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna. It changes all the time, but it is really between Incredible True Story, Under Pressure, and No Pressure. I'm gonna give it to No Pressure here, and I'll say because we are in a modern day of Logic, and it just if you really just like listen to like those 3 albums back to back. I can see the argument that Incredible True Story is better. I mean, I can see the argument that Under Pressure is better too, which was my answer for like ever. But it's like when you really listen to No Pressure, that's like it's a mature Logic. There are influences, but they're not as blatant as they are on the other 2. And I just feel like it's a more consistent, concise album, personally. Yeah. However, any of those 3, I mean, they're all 10s. And I'm not going to get mad at whatever.
No, that's a good choice. For me, it's Incredible True Story because, like you were saying, I feel like with Under Pressure, Logic has something to prove, or he wanted to prove something. And he even said this in interviews, like I was trying to, obviously he was sharing his own authentic story, but he was trying to morph things in a way that was your typical hip-hop album. But Incredible True Story went completely left field, like Outkast on ATLiens. It did something that he was passionate about cinema, about script writing.
True.
Yeah. I mean, morphing it into his own world, and doing that, which was amazing. The whole marketing, like Adam was talking about beforehand, the marketing, meeting with fans, the merch. Come on now, the merch, absolutely stupid. So yeah,
classic merch to this day. Still, I mean, that's when people think of Logic merch, they think of that little.